We hit Danny Vance's place at 6 a.m., 4 officers, Burke and me. The morning was cold and gray, fog still clinging to the harbor like it hadn't decided whether to lift or stay. Danny's house looked worse in the early light, the peeling paint, the sagging porch, the windows that hadn't been cleaned in years. I knocked, waited, knocked again. The door opened slowly. Danny stood there in boxers and a t-shirt, hair wild, eyes barely focusing. "What the?" "Danny Vance." I held up the warrant. "You're under arrest for the murder of Megan Collins. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. You have the right to an attorney." "No." The word came out choked, desperate. "No, I didn't. You know I didn't. If you cannot afford an attorney, one will be provided for you. Do you understand these rights?" "This isn't right." His voice cracked. "You talked to me. You saw my face. You know I didn't do this." The officers moved in. Danny didn't resist. He just stood there, stunned, as they cuffed his hands behind his back. His eyes found mine and held. "You're making a mistake," he said quietly. "Whoever really did this is going to get away with it." I didn't respond. I couldn't. They led him to the patrol car. The neighbors were watching now, faces in windows, people on porches, the quiet judgment of a community that had already decided Danny Vance was guilty. He'd always been trouble. Of course it was him. I watched them put him in the back seat, watched the door close, watched the car pull away, lights off, heading toward the station where he would be processed and held for trial. Burke appeared beside me. "It's done?" "Yeah, you don't look relieved." "I'm not." We stood there in silence as the other officers dispersed, as the neighbors went back inside, as the street returned to its normal emptiness. "His face," I said finally. "Did you see his face when they cuffed him?" "I saw it. That wasn't the face of a guilty man. Guilty men and innocent men look the same when they're scared." Burke started walking toward the truck. "The evidence is solid. The DA's confident. Either Danny Vance killed Megan Collins or someone went to extraordinary lengths to make it look like he did. Which do you believe?" Burke didn't answer. He just got in the truck and waited for me to join him. The station was buzzing when we got back. Word had already spread. The murder case was closed. The suspect was in custody. Everyone was congratulating everyone, shaking hands, acting like justice had been served. Chief Martinez caught me in the hallway. "Good work, Hartley. Quick resolution, solid evidence. This is exactly what the department needed." "Thank you, Chief. The mayor's planning a press conference this afternoon. He wants you and Burke there, standing behind him when he makes the announcement." "I don't think it's not a request." Martinez's voice softened slightly. "I know this case was personal for you. Emma's connection to the victim's employer, all of it. You should be proud of what you accomplished." "I didn't accomplish anything. The evidence fell into our laps. That's how cases break sometimes." She patted my shoulder. "Take the win, Hartley. They don't come often enough." She walked away. I stood in the hallway, watching officers move past, listening to the buzz of conversation, feeling nothing that resembled victory. Danny Vance's arraignment was at noon. I went. Sat in the back of the courtroom, watching the proceedings like they were happening to someone else. Danny looked different in the orange jumpsuit. Smaller, defeated. His public defender, a young woman who clearly had too many cases and not enough time, entered a plea of not guilty. The judge set bail at $500,000. Danny didn't have $500. He wasn't going anywhere. When they let him out, he looked around the courtroom. His eyes found me, and for a moment, something passed between us. Not anger, not accusation. Just a terrible, resigned understanding. He knew he was innocent. He also knew it didn't matter. The press conference happened at 3 p.m. on the steps of the town hall. Mayor Walsh stood at the podium, flanked by Chief Martinez, Burke, and me. The cameras were rolling, the reporters were waiting, and Walsh was delivering exactly the speech everyone expected. "Today, we can assure the citizens of Ravenshore that justice is being served. The suspect in the tragic murder of Megan Collins has been apprehended, thanks to the tireless work of our police department." I tuned him out. Watch the crowd instead. The faces of townspeople who wanted to believe their island was safe. The reporters who would file stories about a case solved, a community healed. And then, at the edge of the crowd, I saw him. Pierre Aberdeen. He was standing apart from everyone else, half hidden by a lamppost, watching the press conference with an expression I couldn't quite read. When his eyes met mine, he smiled, a small, polite smile that meant nothing. Then he turned and walked away, disappearing into the crowd like he'd never been there at all. Forgettable. The word echoed in my head as the mayor finished his speech, as the crowd applauded, as the cameras stopped rolling. Danny Vance was in jail for a murder he didn't commit, and the real killer was walking free, watching it all unfold exactly as he'd planned.